My name is Amanda Sprague, and for my movie analysis, I chose the movie 10 Things I Hate About You. This movie is about two sisters named Kat and Bianca who are in high school. Their dad has a rule that they are not allowed to date until they graduate. Early on in the movie, he decides to change the rule to allow Bianca to date if Kat also dates. Kat doesn't get along with a lot of people and doesn't really talk to anybody. So Cameron, the new kid to school, wants to date Bianca, so him and his best friend create a plan to find someone to date Kat so Bianca will be allowed to date. Patrick gets paid to take Kat on a date, and she later finds out about the whole plan. For my first concept, I chose anger. Anger is the negative primary emotion that occurs when you are blocked or interrupted from attaining an important goal by what you see as the improper action of an external agent. In this scene, Kat finds out that Joey paid Patrick to take her on a date so he could date her sister because their dad had a rule that Bianca wasn't allowed to date unless Kat did, which caused Kat to be angry because he told her that asking her to prom had nothing in it for him other than her company. So the scene right before prom, Patrick asks Kat to go to prom, and she said, "What's in it for you?" And he said, "Nothing besides your company." So he had the chance to tell her the whole plan, and he didn't. And when she finds out, she's mad, and you can see it right in her face that she's upset that he got paid to take her out. My next concept is interpersonal impressions. Interpersonal impressions is ideas about who people are and how we feel about them. In this movie, everyone thinks of Kat as a mean person, and she usually has a negative response to everything. And everyone thinks Patrick is a bad guy who's been to jail, and everyone is scared of him. But those are just people's impressions of them and not who they really are when you get to know them. My third concept is stereotyping, which is categorizing people into social groups and then evaluating them based on information we have in our schemata related to each group. In the movie 10 Things I Hate About You, they have pretty much every high school stereotype, which are jocks, pretty people, smart nerds, outcasts, stoners, cowboys, coffee freaks, and more. Cameron's guide and best friend is the stereotypical audio-visual club nerd. Patrick is the stereotypical bad boy, and Bianca is the stereotypical pretty popular but kind of dumb girl. And the movie has a stereotypical happily ever ending, which never really happens in real life. My next concept is initiating. Initiating is a relational stage in which two people meet and form their first impressions of each other. This scene is at the beginning, right after Joey pays Patrick to date Kat, and this is him initiating the conversation with Kat, and that is what Kat's impression of Patrick is. She doesn't think very highly of him at first. My next concept is conflict. Conflict is the process that occurs when people perceive that they have incompatible goals or that someone is interfering with their ability to achieve their objectives. Joey is upset because he paid Patrick to date Kat so he could date her sister Bianca, but Bianca shows up to prom with Cameron. This creates conflict because Cameron is interfering with Joey's objective to be with Bianca, and also how Kat finds out Patrick was being paid to date her, which causes a problem between Joey and Patrick and Kat. My next concept is interaction. Interaction is a series of messages exchanged between people, whether face-to-face or online. In this movie, there is a lot of face-to-face interactions as the whole movie shows conversations between the characters. That's all of my slides, but this movie analysis project helped me to see how all of the concepts learned in interpersonal communication came together, and how you don't really think about these things unless you're in a class like this and see all the terms spelled out for you. And now when I go back to watch a movie, it made more sense to me, and I really analyzed the movie more, knowing that I was putting terms to what was going on with the movie.